Hi, it's Josh, your Goth Fragrance Bestie. I believe perfume is a language that speaks to us, not in words and colors, but in emotions and memories. In Goth Fragrance Dialogues, we will be listening to the people who channel and craft that language for us. In this episode of Goth Fragrance Dialogues, we'll be hearing from Dustin Lujan, and we'll be talking about his involvement in the perfume industry, taste and trends, and the upcoming opening of his boutique, Emanuel New York. Thank you for sitting down with us today, Dustin.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll get into a lot of your history and your experience. You're a staple in the fragrance world in New York City.
Right.
For those who aren't familiar with you, can you give a little introduction?
So I'm very flattered to be called a staple in this business. It's been something I've put my entire life into. I started when I was 16 years old, and I've been involved in every aspect of this business, from sales to production to buying. I've been in with the indie companies, I've been with the big companies, I've been creative director of brands, and it's something I enjoy, and it's something I just have put everything that is me into. So very pleased to hear that. Thank you.
Well, what was your first memory tied to scent?
Oh gosh. One of my very first memories tied to scent was I had just, I think, made my first big paycheck, right? And I wanted to just reward myself, and I had, and I don't think I was old enough, but I with one of my friends, I had a bottle of champagne and went to Lord and Taylor, and I bought myself Givenchy pie. So, because I just thought it was very chic.
Very interesting. So you have been in the industry, like you said, your whole life. Beauty and fragrance. Mm-hmm. What was really your introduction into the fragrance industry side of things?
Well, I think it was a slow introduction that's always been happening, To be honest with you, I started my life out as an artist, and I literally had my work in art galleries from the ages of 12 to 15. So people were looking to me like I was going to be some sort of art prodigy. And I did love art, and I also needed a way to survive. So back in the day, I was one of those kids that was legally emancipated from their parents when I was 16. And I needed a way to incorporate art and survive. So the great thing is I was able to find makeup artistry through that. And it's funny because, you're the friendly goth guy, right? So I was a punk, and I did a show for a brand called Lip Service, which is very much a Hot Topic brand.
Yeah, okay.
And I had no clue what I was doing. And I was supposed to paint bodies, faces and bodies, and I had no clue. I just did it out of instinct, and people really liked it. And ironically, that took me into makeup artistry with pageants, because believe it or not, my Miss Teen competitor was at that show and thought it was so cool. And then that brought me to Miss America. And so I was doing makeup for pageants. I was doing makeup for these little punk brands. And then I took it very serious. And I was like, this is a way to do art and have a career. Mm-hmm. So then, I started working with test locations for big box brands. So they would set up stores where they would be testing out products. And then I had a lot of interjection in that, so I got into product development. And fragrance was always in there, Beauty and fragrance business, even though we hate to say it, it holds hands,
Yeah.
And so it just kept going and going, and then all my dreams came true with makeup, and I worked for every major house, Marchesa, Oscar de la Renta, Remacra, Acris, Kim Hicks, Douglas Hannett, you know, the incubator brands too. The list goes on. And fortunately, that's how I met my husband too, from that. And when I get bored with something, then I completely pivot and change direction. So all my dreams came true in that aspect. And then, I don't know, I started to just get really interested in fragrance. And I think the reason why I love it and I'm so passionate about it is because the people that I've met in the industry with fragrance, when I was paralleling my beauty life, some of my favorite people I've ever met. And, you know, like I was able to connect with Kurjan from that. He's a lovely person. Killian is a friend. Roja is a friend. Like, you know, Nadia from Initio is a friend. Like David from BDK is a friend. I have all these people in my pocket, and honestly, they're some of the most delicious people I've ever met in my life. And that's just was the driving force. And, you know, sidebar with this too, I do not know how to make fragrance. I can make eyeshadow, I can make lipstick, I can make skin creams. I don't know how to make perfume, and I want to keep it that way because that is also why I think I'm so in love with this category so much, because I can't do it, so I finally get to appreciate it. That's like Barney's. I never had any business affiliation with Barney's because I love being a client there so much.
Like the mystery.
Yes, exactly.
So we're not getting a Dustin brand.
Of perfume, if we ever did, I would absolutely have perfumers that are well respected
Creative director role.
and knowledgeable do it for me. I won't mix it myself in my kitchen.
You have experience curating fragrances for people like Bergdorf as well as Oswald. How do you help kind of inform and influence the curation of brands for the market?
Well, I think number one, you know, it's instinct. So number two, it has to be good. So you know, if you smell a product, if I literally can smell chemicals. I've worked for the biggest houses in the world, like beauty houses. I'm talking like people that I don't want to even mention them because like they would off me in this video right now. But huge companies, like right under the presidents and VPs, you know, and I can smell a chemical. I can smell a scent. I can smell danger. You know what I mean? And so number one, your product has to be great. You have to be great because if I'm promoting you or if I am incubating you, you have to be a lovely person. So that actually plays in heavy too. Because if I have to do business with you, if I promote you, I want to be proud of what I'm promoting.
Yeah.
And number three, I think the person has to be involved. So they have to care, you know, because a lot of times I feel like if people I will always ask people two things. I'm like, are you doing this brand for money? Or are you doing this brand for longevity? And there's two different paths with this. And typically I would like to take the longevity, but also, you know, I'm also not mad to see things grow, you know, like Kurjan, I'm so proud of him. Like, look at how huge he got from, you know, these little bottles. And like, I got him his first employee at Bergdorf, you know, and he used to have bubbles and laundry detergent. And, you know, like, it's so cute. And Roja too, you know. I'm so proud of him as well. And he truly deserves all his success. And that's because these people care, you know what I mean? So, so that's what if I can see you making it, it's worth my time.
So shifting towards that industry experience and kind of your insights from that, you have worked with some of the most prestigious retailers in industry. What lessons have you learned about connecting customers to their perfect scent?
You know what? I think genuinely it's very funny because connecting people to their perfect scent or a perfect item or perfect anything is genuinely caring, you know. I would say that's why people still want to work with me. You know, I have people that like call me. I have people I've worked with on the phone for 20 years, you know, and even if I'm not in a position where it's like a retail sales, if I'm still in corporate, I still will talk with them because I think being genuine is such a real thing. Also, you know, scent is memory, it's psychology, and I think asking the right questions, because when somebody comes and, you know, they're like, oh, I like a musky, vanilla, sweet, sour, vetiver, like they're using buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
They actually don't know what they like, you know? So I'll be like, what's your favorite food? You know, what, like you actually get to know these people, or what was your favorite vacation? So, and then you'd be surprised how fast it happens. And it's kind of funny because normally I always get it right on the first one, but people can't handle it because they're like, I love this, but let's keep going. And they always go back to the first one.
Yeah. So having worked in the luxury niche space, how do you find success for a brand or product in such a competitive market?
Well, we are absolutely in a very strange time, you know. I think this is a tough time because influencing is at an all-time high. Experience is at an all-time high. And I'm seeing a lot of brands that aren't luxury but are disguising themselves as it, really exceeding and hitting the right influencers and this and that. But I'm also hopeful because I see other brands that are genuinely great and genuinely have great people behind it. And I think just sticking with it and not giving up, really, because, you know, there's brands like Strangelove, you know, you've had Elizabeth going after this forever, you know, with Helena, and they're finally getting their recognition. And I think also we're at a point now where people are starting to realize quality. You can trick people for so long, but eventually, you know, they know. So go for some of these brands. I'm like, keep tricking the 12-year-olds and the 8-year-olds, and you know, and that's all you're gonna have. Like,
So quality is definitely a driving factor for success, but
quality and patience.
what do you think distinguishes like a truly good brand from one that simply follows trends?
I think originality. You know what I mean? You have to play with things. You have to pull the trigger on stuff. And, you know, I think Filippo Sorcinelli is somebody that really tests boundaries and, you know, creates things that are just interesting that we've never smelled. And to be honest with you, that's typically, you asked earlier what my favorite scents are. My favorite scents are always things I haven't smelt.
Right.
So like Victor de Souza Splendor Absolute, that has driftwood in it. That's new. Only in that bottle, you know, like first time in that bottle, you know. Strangelove, Red Champaca, you know, that's like an endangered species. It's very impossible to get your nose on. Filippo with the Hawk Dyes, like Petrichor Aloe, come on, who thought of that? Like, I'm at a fetish level. I need things that like are beautiful, but I just haven't smelled, you know?
Right.
And also, if you get things that are interesting like that, I keep saying scent is psychology and memory. When you wear that, anytime anybody ever smells that ever again in the world, they remember you. So how special is that? So, you know, so Everybody wants to smell like, I don't know, like, what's the Louis Vuitton? Ombre Nomad.
Yeah.
I already have negative associations with that because it's just everybody,
Well, I think that kind of dovetails very, very well into the next question. How do you navigate an industry where trends often dominate kind of the focus cycle?
I think that's a really tricky question because trends really do dominate. You've seen, it's really interesting because I see a lot of people that genuinely are coming in and genuinely influence. Like, you'll see every girl come in and say, like, oh my gosh, do you guys have fig and matcha? That's like, I can predict what people are going to say. However, I am grateful for this too, because 9 times out of 10, it exposed the brand to a person. They're coming in, and in the end of the day, they'll try something new, and they'll try something that's more their style. There is the 10% that, they zombie pick, and they're like, I need this, and have just they don't even like it. I've had people actually do that. Like, I do not like this, but I'll take it because this person told me to. So trends, at least it helps drive people to what they want. So I'll take it.
What advice would you give to people who want to explore fragrances beyond those trends? They don't just want to grab it, but maybe they're struck by just how many options there are. They don't even know where to begin.
Honestly, I would say, find a great boutique, like something like Emanuel New York that's coming, and genuinely ask for help. You know what I mean? Because you go into like a place and, I will have probably over 800 options, use my brain. I'm here to help, and I definitely am here for a fun experience. I think it's tougher in the big box stores because, they're people that maybe never worked in the business and they're there to sell Dolce & Gabbana light blue, you know what I mean? Or whatever that is. It's going to be a little tougher, but I think the fragrance community has been great too because they really guide each other. You guys, they split stuff and they do stuff and they tell each other stuff and, so I would say also go for things that are beyond what you think. And you know what? Explore brands that you never would think you liked.
Yeah.
So, I know certain things aren't for me, but I go test it and sometimes I surprise myself, so.
Nice, thank you. And then in the realm of trends dominating cycles and things, what are some trends that you've seen or that are ongoing that you find either particularly interesting or problematic?
I don't know. Trends are tough. I think brand trends are tough because, I know a lot of big influencers on TikTok and a lot of them, I grew them up from little boys and now they're full-grown top 3 men and women. So I think the hard thing with trends like that is I think it's dangerous because there's certain brands that I'll talk to these influencers. They hate it. They don't wear it.
Right.
But they have to promote it to get clicks, And I think you guys all know, you saw me in Jeremy Fragrance's video with Vice, which to actually be the only retailer and person in this business to be in that video, that was kind of an honor. But even, him and we talk through things and it's, designer, you have to promote it or else you're not going to get views.
Right.
Even if you don't like it, certain brands in this niche, if you don't mention them, you're not going to get the views. So that's the trends I find dangerous, is because algorithm trends, you know, you genuinely can't just be some rando that's like, I love this. And because nobody cares.
Right.
You know, so you have to lead in with and you know the brands I'm talking about. I'm not going to defame anybody, but
They're not on my channel.
Certain brands that, yeah, if you don't mention it, you just don't get clicks,
Right.
you know? So even people will kind of do that in the beginning and then move into something they like, you know?
And now a word from our sponsor.
Right? Yeah, really. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Toxic Sludge, Slime. No, just kidding.
The most beast mode fragrance. Yeah.
Exactly. The sexiest sense to be sexy and get sex. Like,
Exactly.
I hate those videos.
So you have a pretty long-standing kind of career and a really well-rounded experience both in the industry and with different size and scope of the retailers. Looking forward, you know, what has been the most rewarding part of this? And then what do you have planned for the future?
You know, it's funny you say that because COVID, I think, changed a lot of things for everybody. You know, when COVID happened, I was helping, I was a buyer and I was also helping to restructure another company. And, you know, I was having that grind and then COVID stopped everything. I was still going into office during COVID. Like literally when this whole pandemic, I was in trains that were caught up, like lit on fire. And, you know, I actually sat with my partner and I was like, Victor, like, I don't think this is right, you know, because I'm being asked to do these crazy things and it's dangerous. And, you know, I've loved my journey. But Victor's like, when were you the most happy? You know, so, and I was like, actually working and talking with people. Like, I love clients and I love, like, this is like lovely, you know, I love connecting. And I think when you get too corporate, some of that goes away, you know? And so that's why I took time to have a partnership with another company and I built this business, this niche business in New York. And you know, my business partner hadn't been too involved with this.
Right.
So this was my full vision. And, you know, and I want this vision to go bigger even, because we did an amazing job at incubating amazing brands and giving people the space and giving people the time and giving people access to talent, you know, even exposure to beyond what I thought I could even do. And, you know, unfortunately, my business partner and I, we don't have the same ideas anymore. I want to focus on niche and grow that category even more, you know, through fragrance, through beauty items, through clothing, because I think there's space for everybody. And there's so much talent and there's so many amazing people that aren't getting recognized because we're in this kind of market. So, so I will be opening Emanuel New York.com, and I'm sure you can link it. Mm-hmm. And guys, be patient with me because it's all just literally starting right now. As we speak. So I'm very proud and I think it's going to be an amazing space for everybody and for people to finally get a little recognition. And, you know, I'm pretty lucky that, like, from my old days, I do have press connections. And so it's going to be a chance for these people to really get spotlighted. And, you know, and I think this is such a special time for that. So, yeah, so check it out and see what's next.
Very exciting. Yeah, you said it kind of a niche, kind of curated experience from fragrance, beauty, clothing, all aspects.
And accessories, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds silly, but like I even found like silly things like in London, I'm obsessed with this guy that He actually takes British and Japanese teacups and fuses them together. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like quirky, like cool stuff. Like stuff you can't really get anywhere, you know?
Yeah, are you looking at doing just online or brick and mortar as well?
It's absolutely going to be brick and mortar.
Excellent.
So it's already, in this interview, it's 6 days old. But yeah, get ready. So, and I hope to see all of you there. And I want people to know that this space is for everybody too, because I know sometimes, I think even for me, is like, I go to spaces and it's a very bro space, you know, very chauvinistic. Or it's the opposite, where it's so, you know, if you're not having kind of this crunchy vibe, you're kind of looked down on as like, you know, this is something for everybody. It's right in the middle, and then, you know, I just want a place where people feel comfortable and to be themselves, whoever that is. You know, if you are like silly and crazy, like be that. If you are hyper intellectual and you want to read every ingredients on the box, do that too. You know what I mean? Like it's okay.
Yeah, it's always important to create spaces for everyone.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. And I don't think there's enough spaces for everybody.
Excellent. And as we figure out details for Emanuel, I'll make sure I update them. Thank you so much for your time today.
Well, cheers.
And just your immense kind of unique perspective on the industry. For those watching, can you tell them where to find you on social medias and websites?
Sure. Well, all my handles are Emanuel New York, on TikTok, website, Instagram, Facebook. Sometimes you might have to put Emanuel New York.
We'll have it all linked below.
Exactly. And also my personal one too, because I answer questions for people around the world. I'm not mad to do it, you know what I mean? Sometimes give me a little time because if something floods in, but my personal one is Dustin Lujan on Instagram. So Dustin Lujan. And that's it, my handle for that. And I do have a TikTok that I barely use. So.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Goth Fragrance Dialogues. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of fragrance and the incredible stories behind the scents that we explore. As always, if you want to learn more, be sure to check out the links in the description for more details and ways to connect with our guests. And don't forget to support their work. It's all about celebrating creativity and passion. If you're loving this content, regardless of what platform, please subscribe, that way you never miss out on a new episode. We've got more exciting stories, insights, and interviews coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Josh, your Goth Fragrance Bestie. Keep exploring the world of scent, stay inspired, and we'll catch you next episode.